Yo, what's good, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? As usual, welcome back to my Mac show. And of course, I'm your host, Eddie Voke 254. And today, all the way from the US, Florida, I have the one and only Kellen Cash, or you can call him Coleman as well. Yo, what's good, brother? How are you doing?
All is blessed. All is blessed. Mambo jumbo to everybody in Kenya, Tanzania, and beyond. Haligani. I'm just here, happy to be here with you. You know, it's late night here in South Florida, and I'm just happy that I was up so we could do this. Thank God.
I appreciate you, brother. So you still
Yeah,
remember some Kenyan Swahili? Just say hi to Kenyan people in Swahili.
I thought I did. I was telling them Mambo jumbo, Haligani. Talk back to me, people. I'm still even wearing Kenyan jewelry daily. I had the Maasai. My friend Marah had the Maasai make these, and they put my name, they flags. We have so many different types of Kenyan jewelry that people love, and we hope that one day we can wholesale so we can create business in Kenya as because we bring people to Kenya sometimes with our clients, but we want to even do more. Kenya is one of my favorite African countries.
Well, that's so amazing to hear from you, Kellen. So, what do you mean when you say like business opportunities abroad?
So the business opportunities abroad that I see is just even what I'm wearing, whether it's from Kenya or this piece is from Cameroon. Um, we need to be able to do business internationally, and we don't have to wait for the big corporations. We don't have to wait for China to make it so cheap. We can do it ourselves. So I've even put campaign slogans on this type of wristband for the audience. So, we could put a president's name on here and put, their year that they're running. And those things are exciting to me because I know many Kenyans here in the US, when they come here, America is good for money, but they want to get back to Kenya. So they want to make as much money as possible so they can get back to Kenya and enjoy the rest of their life. And I agree with them. America is great for money, and then go see the world and be able to invest and spend it.
That's great to hear from you. And what's your greatest fear when it comes to business?
Not doing my purpose is my greatest fear, especially when if you let finances is a big thing. The scriptures talk about money answers all things. And it also tells you, the love of money is the root of all evil. And so you have to have a dance and a balance in between that. And you'd hate to for not do your purpose because of funds. But again, you need funds to make some things happen. So I'd hate to say no to somebody because of funding. At the same time, I don't want to, lose money, and I don't want to go bankrupt. And that's part of it, just missing out on the purpose. Because the money you can always get again. You can always earn more money, but you also don't want to start over, especially when you have children. You have to be make sure the children are taken care of, school fees and everything else.
Or what do you think globalization will impact business opportunities abroad in near future?
I think right now we're seeing, it's easier to ship something to Kenya. I shipped something to a friend of mine because she had a child. So her and her Boaz would not have to have smelly diapers. And I was like, well, let me do my contribution, right? Because this friend did so much for me. And so the globalization, the AI, the blockchain, all these buzz and keywords. We just saw Bitcoin go, 100,000. And it for everybody outside of the US, I would tell them, tell everybody about Bitcoin. Now, if you're in the US, don't talk about Bitcoin because you're going to be taxed on your Bitcoin. So don't even mention it. Tell everybody you don't have it. But that allows people to transfer money and not have to pay the governments and the banks, which, it's not always easy trying to transfer money because of the money laundering laws in the US. So I just think things are going to get better and the future is closer than you think. That's not just the saying, that's also a book. And you can read that book if you Google that or anything by Peter Diamandis. But I'm excited because, it's going to open up opportunities and make more people a lot of money.
All right, that's great. And you mentioned about AI. Is it really true that AI is taking over people's job?
Oh, well, see, I don't like to think of it like that because I can remember being a kid in the 80s and watching shows where, I was born in 81 and I watched a show called Perfect Strangers, which had a actress who also was on Family Matters, Steve Urkel. And the mother in Family Matters was an elevator operator. Well, nowadays you have to go to a really fancy hotel and maybe you'll see an elevator operator. And so there's a lot of jobs that, technology and the computer has even transformed. But I don't want to say take over because really things have to evolve or we're not going to, really be doing our purpose. We like to quote scriptures and say God blessed us with this, he blessed us with that, but it's how you use things. So it's not that AI is going to take over jobs, but I don't know about you, but I've had many menial jobs that I could not stand, and they were very tactical and you had to do over and over, and maybe you had to put something in the computer or you had to hold like heavy pipe. Well, now AI and robots are in the, now or in the near future are going to be able to do that work. So maybe it's going to help our health and even our mental health and our physical health. So we have to try to find the positive, and we also have to increase our skill set.
I agree with that. You also mentioned about reading the books, and that reminded me that you are an author as well. When are we expecting your next book?
I'm right now writing as much blogs on my website, cprfirm.com, www.cprfirm.com, or the same website, just a different domain, colemanprfirm.com. Links will probably be in the description for one of those. And I'm having fun doing the blogs right now. The books right now, information is so quick. So by the time you put out a book, something might have changed. So right now, I'm really focused on giving people information that they can use. And what I'm doing is having conversations with people. Sometimes they're clients, sometimes they're people who want to be clients. And I say, oh, that's a good topic. I'm tired of saying it over and over. Let me write it out or let me do a video on it. And so I don't know when the next book is going to come out. We write these children's books at londonandsydney.com. That's probably the next one. And we have one for South Africa and we have one for Seattle. But that's probably going to be the next one because we're showing people how to travel. And those are my daughters, londonandsydney.com. So that's what it probably will be the next thing.
How crucial is international partnerships when you're entering in a new market?
Oh, it's very crucial. You need friends wherever you go. And you also need to pay people properly because a lot of times what we're seeing, I don't care skin color. Americans can't be foreigners, they tell me. We can't be immigrants. We have to be expats. And a lot of expats I've seen, not just from America, but from, Canada, when they go to African countries, they think Africa is cheap. Therefore, they're trying to pay the lowest amount. In Africa, if you have your house and you have your car, it can be inexpensive compared to the US. But you also need to make sure you're paying the correct wages. So we don't do things like in Ghana. a lot of Americans, Black Americans, have thrown off the system. Rent in Accra is way too much. Cost is way too much. So you need partners, and you also need partners so you don't get ripped off. You don't get chopped. 419 is not a crime in some places. It's just a game, and you need to learn how to play that game like any other game that you're playing.
So, for Kenyans who are interested in working abroad, how how do you advise them?
Well, I'll tell Kenyans and all of Africa that the thing that Africa has is your school system and primary school, whether you A levels, whatever, is so much better. It's so more organized. It's so more disciplined. And it's a blessing because we know not everybody even has school fees, and some people have to go right to work, right? Some people have to work, then go to school. But that drive and that hustle, if you did want to come to America, come and study the sciences, math. We have a 2 million nursing shortage. If you come and say, I want to become a nurse or a medical doctor, you're more likely to be, welcomed in, especially if you go to a historical Black college, which always needs students. And there's scholarships available once you get in. They might not be there your first year, but you can get them, maybe your second semester or second year once you learn the system. So do that. If you say you can play soccer and you're not even that good, America is not good in soccer. So at a small school, you might be able to get a scholarship. So I would say look into those opportunities. And those are things that my family has done. My wife being from Cameroon, her siblings, her friends, and others that I know have done that. And just know that in America, where it's good for money and you're gonna work. We work all day. Before we were talking, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning here, but I was just finishing up some last, documentation for tomorrow. And I'll be up tomorrow for a meeting between 8 and noon. And then I have to find out, where my kids, what they want to do for a Friday fun day. So just know you're gonna work, and it's not like anywhere else. You're always moving and grooving. So be prepared for that.
For for the business or entrepreneurs who are at the US, are there like main funding options they can consider expanding the business?
Well, in the US, we have plenty of, I mean, this place is in debt for a reason. I think it's, into the trillions, don't quote me. But and so if you want money here, there's money for your business. You just, and so many immigrants, I just interviewed one yesterday. Keep in mind that yesterday I haven't slept, right? So that yesterday I did that because we sit on a board together for Palm Beach State College. And we were talking about the different options that you have in America. There's always funding. Even though she didn't take it, she just did it from savings. There's always some type of funding because she's a consultant as well. So we were having fun talking about that. And so there's plenty of money. There's even money in government contracts if people want to do projects even in Africa. They're not always easy to get. You need to have a track record. When you come here to America, if you have 20% of what you ask for, once your documentation is all good to go, we have things like the Small Business Administration that will give you good amount of money as long as you have 20% of what you're asking for. They're going to make you jump through some hoops to make sure you understand why and what they want you to do with that money. And you have to have a good business plan. But America always has some money. Thank God for new business. I personally follow Dave Ramsey, so we don't borrow money, and we'll just bootstrap it. But I know there's some businesses that they'd like it to go faster and quicker. I just have been doing business for 20 plus years. I don't want to be a slave to anybody else anymore. And I've never borrowed money for a business.
All right, all right. So, and also, what's your experience in pursuing like international business opportunities so far?
I've opened up a consulting firm in Sierra Leone, and we haven't done much with it. Sierra Leone, I'm a citizen of Sierra Leone as well, but it is not easy to do business overseas, and you have to have the right partners. I have some really trustworthy people that I could give money to, but you also have to have clients that can afford you. And that's sometimes the difficult part. You can make, more money here, or you can focus more on Sierra Leone. So we're doing, what we can, but there's some things in strategy and systems. I'm also a resident of Mexico, and I'd love to do more things in Mexico. My español es mal, pero practica todos los días. So the more that I practice my español and have partners who want to do similar businesses, hopefully we can do more business, because Mexico is a beautiful country, and it's a country, it's not just Americans who can get residency. If your country has a Mexican embassy, go to them now, ahora, in Espanol, and see if you can get residency in Mexico. It is very easy, and the Mexican people are friendly. It's like being in Africa.
Right, all right. And maybe what are some of the requirements that people or the NGOs who might be interested working with you should have?
For me, have your plan together and don't expect a free ride. I have people that I have to pay. I tell people all the time, I don't have always the greatest ideas. It takes a team. With unity, we all win is a hashtag that I love to throw out there every chance I get. So have your budget, and have a budget that, it's a serious budget. And if you don't have a serious budget and you just have what you have, consider us, being a business partner if we say yes. So when this thing blows up, we actually can chop something too at a partner level. That's a big thing. People have to do business like they do dating. It needs to benefit everybody.
So maybe do you have any advice you can give a company which is planning to expand internationally?
Depending on the business, use AI to do your research. Don't be scared of it. It's not always correct, but it's really, helpful. So use AI and cross check and see if that's true, and find partners who are doing similar things or have a track record. It's nothing wrong with having new people, but when people come to us, like, we do government contracting. You get into government contracting because you have proven that you are going to do what you say. Or, being a small business, especially being a small Black business in America, you may never get work again. So we have to make sure that we are doing our homework. And I've worked with many of different entrepreneurs on their business plans throughout the years. A lot of times they're looking at it one-sided. When you're doing international, you have to look at all sides. And so that's what I would say. Look at all sides, because systems change based on the country and even based on the region. How we do business in New York and California is not necessarily how you'll do business in Texas or Alabama.
As a healthcare consultant, what do you advise, or rather, what do you advise those countries who are still embracing the use of GMO food?
The healthcare side of our company, because we do represent and work with doctors, and there's courses we write in healthcare, but that's because my wife is a physician and her sisters are all nurses. So that's, I would say that's a question that I would give that department. As far as the GMO, I mean, in America, we have spices that are supposed to be Hispanic spices like Goya that are illegal in Kenya, Poland, and even in Mexico. And so, I can't tell you anything about healthy food because besides what I try to grow, the little things I can grow in my yard out here, we're eating, unhealthy food, maybe the most unhealthy food because we are the home of McDonald's, Burger King, and a whole bunch of other fast foods.
As an individual, are you interested in maybe linking up those people who are looking for jobs abroad?
Jobs abroad. I mean, I have, I'm trying to think of have a blog yet. That's something that I could write on if anyone wanted help and if anyone felt like they needed that from me. I do have a friend in Rwanda who his wife is Kenyan, and he is from Ghana, and he was asking about that. And I said, coming over as a student is the easiest thing sometimes, and then figuring out how you can work because America really respects American education. It's interesting how other people come from other countries and were doctors and they still want to make you jump through the hoops like you do the training. So if you want a job abroad, I would say look on LinkedIn, look on maybe Indeed, because it gets complicated if you're not here already. And you have to then be highly skilled, whether you're a doctor, nurse, or even like a coder. But you need to be skilled and you probably need to have some type of form of connection to some institution here because they can, on your behalf, put up the money and say, hey, we'll take care of this person if they get sick. But I'm not opposed, Kelvin, I'm not opposed to trying to help everyone. And that's why doing videos and writing, I'm doing more of it. And if more people come to me, the more content I'll have. The question I have people, will you share the information so others will get it, especially if you're getting it for free? Because it takes time to create all this and it takes money. And I would really like Africa. I'd like Kenya to say, Kellen, we have a position for you. We want to work with you. Help us in the masses. And so we can be in Kenya from Nairobi, I'll be in Kibera or I'll be in the Westlands. I'll go to Mombasa and really help and not just bring people to Africa, but also bring Africans to America. I'd love that. We're working on things like that now, but we need the institutions. I mentioned earlier, I sit on a board for college, and we really want to do like this nurse swap or internship swap, but it takes good people on both sides, and it takes a lot of trust too.
All right, all right. Kellen Coleman all the way from the US, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my Mac Show. Thank you for watching.